Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really digging into one of the most talked about projects out there, Pi Network.
Yeah, there's just so much chatter.
Exactly. Our source material today is focused on trying to untangle the facts from, well, all the global speculation, especially these persistent rumors connecting Pi to that big banking standard, ISO 2022.
That's pretty much the goal today. I mean, when you're talking about a project claiming over 50 million users, the rumor mill isn't just running, it's working overtime.
Right.
So for you listening, we really want to break down clearly what the official Pi Core team has actually confirmed versus what's still just, speculation.
Okay, so let's start there. ISO 2022. We see this popping up everywhere in financial news. What exactly is it in simple terms?
Think of it as a universal language for financial messages. It's a global standard that banks, payment networks, they all use it to exchange data for transactions, payments, securities, that kind of thing.
So it's like an upgrade for how banks talk to each other.
Pretty much, yeah. It's designed to make the data richer, more structured, faster. It's a really foundational shift for the traditional finance world.
And there's this date everyone keeps mentioning, November 22, 2025. Is that a real deadline?
Oh, yeah. The date's absolutely real. It's verified. That's the crunch time, the final deadline set by regulators globally for traditional banks, SWIFT, the Fed, European banks to be fully using this new standard.
Okay, so here's the million-dollar question then. Does Pi Network, which is, mostly known for mobile mining, does it have any official confirmed connection to this big traditional banking deadline?
And we have to start right there with a clear answer. Officially, no.
No link.
No confirmed link. This idea, it's everywhere in the community discussions, but it's probably the biggest piece of unverified info we need to tackle first.
Right. Let's just clear the air on that compliance myth straight away. The sources are definite. No official words supporting this. Why do you think it's such a sticky rumor?
Well, I think it's partly because other cryptos, like XRP or Stellar's XLM, they are often talked about in relation to these global financial messaging standards.
Ah, okay. So people see that and think Pi must be next.
Kind of, yeah. There's this assumption that any big crypto project, especially one with a huge user base like Pi, must eventually sort of plug into the same system. And that big deadline adds urgency, right? Makes it seem plausible.
But there's a key difference, isn't there? Being compliant with a messaging standard for banks isn't the same as being automatically adopted as money by those banks.
Exactly. That's the crucial distinction. There is absolutely zero official confirmation from the Pi Core team saying the network will meet or even needs ISO 2022 compliance by November 2025.
And Pi isn't on any official list alongside XRP or XLM for this.
Correct. It's not currently listed as one of the ISO 2022 compatible cryptocurrencies that are designed to work within those traditional financial rails.
So this whole idea that Pi will somehow get a boost or global recognition or integrate with banks just because November 22, 2025 rolls around, that just doesn't add up.
It really doesn't. That deadline is about how banks communicate. For a crypto to interface directly, it usually needs specific integrations, often through intermediaries or meet security and governance levels, that Pi, being focused on decentralized utility, isn't really aiming for in the same way.
Right.
The community really should be focused on Pi's own roadmap, its internal milestones, its utility, not some external date meant for central banks.
Okay, but this is where it actually gets quite interesting, because if you put aside the ISO rumors and look at what is confirmed, the network has made some pretty big verifiable steps forward.
Oh, absolutely. They've definitely made real progress on the tech side, turning that huge mobile mining user base into something, well, more tangible, a live blockchain with actual users. That deserves way more focus and speculation.
Let's talk KYC, that Know Your Customer process. It's essential to get users onto the main app properly. The numbers in our source material are pretty striking.
They are huge numbers, and honestly, it's a massive technical hurdle they've cleared to a significant extent. Over 3.36 million pioneers have passed the full KYC. Think about managing digital identities for that many people securely.
That's a lot of people.
It is, and out of that group, 2.69 million have actually migrated their Pi balances over to the mainnet blockchain. That's verified value transfer.
So that's not just testing anymore. That's millions of users moving onto the real network. How are they managing the security and scale for verifying all those identities? Our sources mention some tech behind it.
Yeah, it gets pretty technical. They're using advanced AI models. Plus, they analyze huge data sets from things like liveness checks. So,
Yeah.
making sure it's a real person blinking or moving, not a bot or a fake picture.
Right, preventing fake accounts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Scaling secure KYC like that is fundamental for any decentralized system to avoid fraud. And achieving that with over 3 million people is, frankly, a much more concrete achievement than rumors about banking standards.
And getting those users migrated successfully is what allowed the mainnet itself to launch, right?
Correct. The enclosed mainnet went live back on February 2025. That was the big step. It allowed peer-to-peer trading within their own ecosystem, and importantly, it let developers start building actual apps on Pi.
And the user count on that mainnet.
It's now over 10.14 million identified pioneers. So a significant chunk of their base is now active on the blockchain itself.
And it's not just about user numbers, is it? The sources show they're building out the actual infrastructure, too, moving beyond just tapping a button to mine.
Definitely. You see progress in a couple of key areas. First, developer tools. The Pi App Studio got an upgrade with AI-assisted tools to help people build apps faster.
Making it easier to create things on Pi.
Right. And second, the financial tools within the network. Things like a DEXIS, a decentralized exchange, and AMM functions, which stands for Automated Market Maker. Those are being actively tested on their testnet right now.
So the building blocks for an internal economy are being put in place.
Exactly. Those are essential if you want tokens to actually be traded and used within the ecosystem itself. We also see staking functions letting users vote and support apps.
But for a lot of people listening, the real proof isn't just code on a testnet. It's whether Pi can actually be used for anything in the real world. Are we seeing that happen?
We are starting to see it, yes. And this is where that huge user base potentially matters. Maybe it's not integrating with global banks yet, but it is being used by some local merchants.
Where specifically?
We've got confirmed reports of growing adoption, merchants accepting Pi directly as payment in several countries, including places like China, Nigeria, Vietnam, and the Philippines.
Okay, so that's significant. Pi is actually being used as a medium of exchange, person to person, business to person in certain areas. That seems like a much stronger indicator for its future than just hoping for ISO compliance.
Honestly, it's the only real indicator that matters long term. Real-world use is the ultimate test, not ticking some box on a banking standard checklist.
Now, we also need to wave a few red flags, talk about the danger zone. These are the projects and timelines that get talked about a lot, but aren't official PiCore team creations. It's easy for people to get confused.
This is so important. You absolutely have to know the difference between something the official team built and supports versus something built by the community, even if it's popular.
Because community projects don't have the same official backing or potentially security.
Exactly. They might be great ideas, ambitious, but they aren't official. PiBridge is probably the classic example.
Right, I've seen that mentioned a lot.
It exists, people use it, but it was built by third parties. It is not an official core team project. Same goes for something called PiPay. Lots of buzz, claims high usage, but again, not an officially confirmed pilot program from the main team.
And often these unofficial projects come with big claims about usage numbers, right?
Oh yeah, you'll see things like 100,000 plus transactions in just 2 weeks. But where's the proof? Those figures often lack independent, trustworthy verification.
So the rule of thumb is,
if it doesn't come directly from the PiCore team's official channels, like their website, mindpi.com, you should be extremely skeptical. Treat it as rumor until proven otherwise.
and that skepticism needs to apply to future dates too, right? There's always chatter about when the full open mainnet might launch or when that DEX will be live for everyone.
Constant speculation. Any dates you hear thrown around, like Q1 2026 for open mainnet, or maybe the PiDX going public in December 2025, that's all just guesswork right now.
No official confirmation.
None. The core team hasn't announced firm dates for those major milestones. Their public stance is focused on getting the tech stable and secure first. Believing speculative dates can lead you to make bad decisions about holding or selling.
Okay, let's try and tie this all together now and look at the current market situation. Because despite the real utility we just talked about in some regions and that massive user base, 50 million active pioneers, the price tells a different story. A story of, well, serious challenges.
Yeah, that's the big tension here. You've got this enormous community, but a lot of them are still just mining or their tokens are locked up. This creates real problems with liquidity.
Let's look at the price itself. The source material puts it around 0.20 cents currently as of October 25, 2025.
Right. And you have to compare that to its peak.
which was about $3 back in February 2025, not that long after the mainnet launch. So that's a 93% drop.
Yeah.
That's pretty drastic. What's driving that?
The main driver seems to be supply pressure, or token inflation.
Hmm.
Our sources point out that a huge number of tokens, 121 million, are set to be unlocked in just the next 30 days.
Wow, 121 million hitting the market potentially.
Exactly. That creates massive potential selling pressure. Even with 50 million users, if even a small percentage of those getting unlocked decide to sell immediately, it can easily overwhelm the buying demand, especially with low liquidity. That pushes the price down and makes it volatile.
So the low liquidity makes the problem worse. If lots of tokens are still locked or haven't been migrated, and then you see big chunks being deposited onto exchanges, when they do unlock, it signals people might be looking to sell.
That's the concern, yeah. It points towards sellers having the upper hand in the immediate market. The project is facing that classic challenge. How do you go from acquiring millions of users essentially for free to building a stable, balanced token economy where supply and demand find an equilibrium? It's tough.
But it's not all negative pressure, is it? Our sources also mentioned a counter signal, something suggesting demand for the community.
That's right. We can't ignore that. Despite the price pressure, there's also data showing significant withdrawals from centralized exchanges.
People taking their pie off exchanges.
Yes, more than 10 million PI were withdrawn in the last 24 hours, according to the data we reviewed. That suggests there's still strong demand among pioneers who want to hold their pie, maybe use it for staking, or perhaps use it in those real-world bartering scenarios we discussed in places like Vietnam or Nigeria.
So even while the market price is struggling, some core users are pulling tokens back into the ecosystem, showing belief in its future use.
It seems that way. And that brings us back to the tech development. The continued work on the DX, the AMM, the app platform that focus on building real utility might actually be a much stronger foundation for long-term value than chasing those ISO compliance rumors ever was.
Yeah, it feels like the internal development is where the real story is.
It absolutely is. The value has to come from what the network enables people to do.
Okay, that really helps clarify things. Let's wrap this up for the listener. If you're following Pi Network, maybe you're a pioneer yourself, what are the key things, the internal things you should really be tracking for success?
Forget the November 2025 banking deadline. That's not the main event for Pi. Success really depends on three things. One, can they keep verifying users reliably through KYC and get millions more onto the mainnet?
Okay, KYC and migration continuation.
Two, can they successfully launch those core financial tools, the DX and AMM, on the mainnet and make them work smoothly to create a functioning internal market?
Internal economy tools.
And three, can they significantly expand that real-world merchant adoption we talked about, making Pi genuinely useful for commerce in more places? Those are the verifiable metrics to watch.
Got it. And one last piece of advice for people trying to navigate all the hype and speculation.
Just stick to the official source. Only trust announcements from the PiCore team on their official blog at mindpi.com. Be super skeptical of everything else, timelines, partnerships, miracle integrations, unless you see it confirmed there.
Maximum skepticism unless it's official. That's clear. Okay, let's leave you with a final thought then. While all the talk about ISO 2022 grabs headlines, maybe because it sounds big and official, the real make-or-break question for Pi Network seems much more internal. It's this. Can this massive, community-driven, mobile mine project build out its real-world utility and its internal economy fast enough to overcome the constant pressure from token inflation and that price volatility we discussed? That internal race against time feels like the real drama to watch, not whether it meets some external banking standard.
That's a great way to put it, a really vital distinction for such a unique experiment in crypto. Thanks for digging in with us today.
Absolutely. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.